got great taste, I can good sing, raw conviction shit. I'm a zombie, resurrecting it, cause it's on me. I say I say lights, can you hear the thunder? I say I say smoke cause I'm burning rubber. I see smoke cause I'm burning rubber. Dirty soul, that's another fine angel. I can't help that I like him unstable. And when I'm done, she'll need a cane cause I'm able. Only fans, I won't enter in my payroll. Can you hear the thunder? I see smoke cause I'm burning rubber. I see smoke cause I'm burning rubber.
Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, ghouls, and goblins. Welcome to episode 2 of Cursed Tapes, your home for all things spooky, scary, and anything else that goes bump in the night. I will be your master of ceremonies, Jagger. Welcome to tape 2, horror comedies. Joining me today, I have one of my quickest rising best friends and an incredible and wholesome content creator, Mr. Big Husky. Ready for the purge, my friend. How are you tonight?
What's up, yo?
How are you tonight, sir?
I'm good.
Good.
Okay.
It's good to hear. You scaring yourself? So why don't you introduce yourself to all the viewers since this is your first time on Cursed Tapes?
Well, thank you for having me on Cursed Tapes. I appreciate it.
Of
My name
course.
is Big Husky. I'm big. I'm Husky. I stream on Twitch. A variety streamer. I upload videos to YouTube. I hate spoopy, I hate horror, but I love comedies. So I'm here for this part of it because some of these movies are actually, surprisingly enough, some of my favorite movies. I know what else to say. I'm 6'4". I like long walks on the beach.
Ooh. He is single, ladies and gentlemen. Just saying. I know you said you steer clear of the spooky most of the time, but I do know you are a fan of a few different horror franchises, Saw being one of them.
Yeah, surprisingly, yeah, enough. The Saw one was kind of weird for me because the Saw one was, funnily enough, after the whole single thing, I watched the first Saw. I watched Saw 3 with my high school girlfriend on Halloween. Hadn't watched any of the other ones, and then I went back and watched the first one. And the concept of it was the thing that got me with the Saw movies, man.
Right.
Just the fact of like almost the what are you willing to do to survive? I thought that was kind of a cool concept. And then as the movies went on more, you kind of slowly lost that concept, and it just became one of those things where it just was a begrudging, like, okay, I kind of have to finish the series out now because
right.
I like it. You know, I'm excited to see Spiral. I almost bought it a few days ago on Amazon.
I will say Spiral is good. It brought me back to the roots of the original trilogy of Saw films. So awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed Spiral. But the topic today, horror comedies. Horror comedies is an interesting one for me. I go back and forth between like loving them and hating their very existence. Like
I'm always almost anything as soon as you put it into the comedy realm, I love it.
Well, I mean, you're a funny guy.
Yeah, I mean, funny looking.
No, you're a funny guy.
A lot of the stuff though, like I like the way that it takes a basic concept and tries to flip it on its head, and I kind of like
Mhm.
that about a lot of the stuff. For the thing that a lot of people out there probably don't know because it's the first time they're seeing me and everything. But I like romantic comedies. I'm a huge romantic comedy fan. I fucking
Mhm.
love rom-coms to death. Horror comedies, like I said, I've been getting into a little bit more of them as time has gone on.
Mhm.
But like I said, yeah, as soon as you throw the comedy aspect in there and you just get some good giggles in there, I'm all for it, man.
Right. Well, I mean, we've seen a lot more of the horror comedies come up here recently in like the past like 5 or 6 years. I mean, some of the earliest ones are like the blatant spoof films, like the Scary Movie franchise, a haunted house, things like that, where they basically take actual horror movies and it's just like, okay, let's just make them stupid and silly.
Yeah, let's turn this in from a scary thing into just a straight up parody, right?
Right.
And like those, I kind of almost don't put those in the same categories, especially some of the ones that we're going to talk about,
Mhm.
simply just because, like, in the ones that we're talking about, it really does feel more like these are movies that are like the elements of them are horror, but they're going to make you giggle at points,
Right.
or it's a comedy can turn into a horror. Where with like haunted house or scary movie, right? Those are just like, hey, look, we're just going to show how stupid this shit is.
Yeah, and I mean,
Right.
I wanted to cover the whole spectrum of them, to where from like straight up spoofs to the subtle horror films. I mean, some of the movies we're gonna dive into a little bit more today. Scary Movie, The Babysitter, the Netflix original, Tucker and Dale versus Evil, Happy Death Day, Cabin in the Woods. Those are like the big ones that stand out to me as far as like horror comedies. So, I kind of want to start with Scary Movie because I want to get them out of the way. I know in my
you're in the lead, man. I'm just here. I'm just glad to be here, man. You're in the lead.
It's fine. It's fine. I'll drive. Don't worry. I got you, buddy.
There we go.
So as far as the scary movies go, see that in itself is a mouthful. Scary movies.
Yeah, scary movies.
I think the first 3 were like decent. Like they're a fun watch that I enjoy sitting down and watching, like Scary Movie 2 every now and then, because the concept is like it takes The Haunting and Hollow Man and mixes it in with a bunch of other shit, and it was a fun story where eventually all the other films kind of just like, all right, let's see how many horror movie references we can throw in there and make them look dumb.
Yeah, I mean, like the first few scary movies, kind of like and the other thing with the first few as well, they had like a main premise as well. Like, this is what the story is. We're gonna include all the stupid horror tropes that there are.
Yeah.
Right. Like when I say that, of course, I'm not trying to bash horror, right? But like,
I know the horror tropes are absolutely stupid.
Right.
I will definitely go into that on this show.
We can either get in the car that's fully fueled, or we can hide behind the chainsaw shed.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what the chainsaw shed, right? Like, so like the first few movies though, they had a main dominant story arc, and then they just threw these little elements in. And as the series went on, it felt more like the story got lost, and it was just trying to shove in as many things as it could.
Right.
It's a lot like it's almost kind of like with almost any sort of series, especially when you have like one main dominant series, right? Like,
yeah,
I always think back to Fast and Furious. The Fast and Furious movies are like, I've heard recently that the most recent one, there's a part where, spoiler for anyone out there, they go into fucking space.
Yeah, well, that's in the trailer,
like,
so it's not really a spoiler.
Yeah, so, but like the people, like apparently I've heard people that like are in the theaters watching the movie and they're like, I thought this was Fast and Furious. Why the fuck are we in space? You know, like that sort of thing.
Well, it's funny because like people have been saying that as a joke forever. They're like, oh, eventually they're gonna run out of things to do. They're just gonna send cars in space, and now here we are, 9 movies in, and they put a car in space. Yeah. Like, it's ridiculous. And I think, and I'm kind of glad that the Scary Movie like franchise kind of died off. They tried to revive it back with a Haunted House and a Haunted House 2, and it poked fun at like the found footage films that were out around the time, like Paranormal Activity and Insidious and things like that. But like, it did it in a more subtle way.
Yeah, I would say I was a big fan of the Haunted House, but that's also because what is the Wayans? Is that how you say his name?
The Wayans brothers.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of a lot of the stuff that they do.
Yes, I love their brand of comedy.
Exactly. So like when I watched I think I've only watched the first one, but like when I watched that one though, huge fan. Kind of I giggled a lot of the time.
Yeah, it was enjoyable.
So, yeah.
So moving on from that crap fest of Scary Movie. I want to go into Tucker and Dale versus Evil, which I just watched again last night. just
You
to
know,
like.
I watched it again yesterday too because it was on Amazon
Yeah,
Prime.
and it was
for, like,
actually what's funny is it was actually leaving today. It like just went off Amazon Prime like 20 minutes ago, which is funny, I think.
Yep.
But that one I love like a lot because it presented itself as like the traditional hillbillies in the woods are going to kill the college kids, but the hillbillies in the woods are just two dudes that want to fix up their vacation home.
Exactly right.
And they're
Like,
just kind of lovable idiots, and I love it because I love Alan Tudyk as an actor. He's phenomenal, and he plays the hillbilly role alongside Dale so well.
It's so hard to find a role that Alan Tudyk has played that you don't like. Right,
True.
like he's just such a good actor where he can kind of morph into a lot of things. Like he has a sci-fi TV show right now where he's like an alien.
Mm-hmm.
And like I've seen a couple of the episodes on YouTube because for some reason they were on YouTube. I watched a couple of the episodes and it was actually really enjoyable. Like he's playing like an alien that's trying to understand human like behavior and everything.
Right.
And everything that he's learned is from like TV.
Oh, okay.
And, like he goes out like once or twice with some people because he's like the town doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So he has to actually like go out and interact with people, and like it's I would highly suggest. I forgot what the fuck it's called, but also
I'll have to
I'm allowed
look.
to swear.
Yeah, lightly. We keep it to a minimum.
Okay, I was gonna say I completely forgot right there, you know, and I have no idea how many times I just said there for. So
I mean, if parents are like letting their children watch a show called Cursed Tapes, I think they know what they're getting into.
I mean, true. I completely blanked on it because you know it's part of fucking who I am. See?
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, me too. I'm a construction worker. I curse worse than a sailor.
Exactly. But no, like this is one of those movies though, Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, that I was a huge fan of. When it 1st came out, I was a huge fan of it. I loved everything about it because, you know, where I live, we're up in the woods, you know, like my town has less than 1,500 people in it. You know, like the Dale and Tucker characters are like some of the people that I grew up with, right? They were my friends in high school, you know, they were me in college at one point. You know, just want to drink some beer, want to put in a chew, want to have a good time, right?
Yeah.
And then dealing with the overly preppy, you know, I'm smarter than you college kids, you know, that just think that, you know, we're nothing, we're good for nothings, or
we're just hicks.
Exactly, right? Like it was such a cool movie because it flipped the whole thing on its head and turned the stereotypes kind of around.
Right.
Where a lot of times it's the hillbillies are the bad people, but you know, the educated people are, you know, the more well-rounded individuals, where this movie completely flips the script. And I loved it, and I thought it was such a unique take as well. And there's so many scenes in it, just watching it, like rewatching it, that I'm rewatching it and just getting a whole new level of respect and everything for it, right? Like there's the scene right off in the beginning where he's talking about, like, you know, go over there and introduce yourself, you know, go say hi. And he goes over there, right? And it's like, look, just, you know, say hi, laugh, you know, and just smile. So he goes over there and he has a fucking scythe.
Yep. A brush clearing scythe.
Yeah, right. He walks over and, you know, so you guys going camping? And then he just gets this big smile on his face and just awkward laughs. And it's the funniest fucking thing because I'm sitting there like, I've
been there. I said that. Like I said that last night. I'm like, man, I've been there. Just awkward laughs.
Exactly. It was like there's just so many like funny, relatable moments, and just the whole, like I said, the whole concept of flipping the stereotype for me was the biggest thing. I fucking loved that. So I
think my favorite thing about the whole deal was when the girl Allison, she wakes up and she's like, "Do you have anything to do around here?" And Dale gets so excited. He's like, "We got board games. You want to play board games? This one's here is my favorite. Trivia." I'm like, I did not expect trivia. And she's asking him all these questions of things like he shouldn't know, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, that's easy. That's James Monroe, 5th president of the United States." I'm like,
what was the quote that he has in it? He says, "You know, I'm as dumb as rocks, but you know, I've remembered everything I've ever read." And it's like,
yeah. And that's kind of accurate because I mean, like he knows a lot of different things. Like he spouts off random things. Like at the end, spoiler alert. I don't have a fancy spoiler alert like Xander does. When they're facing off with the final guy, and he like starts spouting off the active ingredient in chamomile tea, and that's what affects his asthma, and that's what they use to escape. Like she just looks at him dumbfounded, and he's just like, "What? I told you. I remember a lot of useless shit."
And it's such a cool stereotype too, because it's like it's one of those things where like I consider myself like dumb as rocks, but like there's random shit that I know that there's no reason for me to know, right?
But you know it.
But I know it, and it's one of those things where like in like a Trivial Pursuit sort of atmosphere or something, like like
Mhm.
you ask me some random thing, and I'm like, oh yeah, like the national animal of Scotland is a unicorn, and it's like, wait, what? And it's like, yeah.
Is that an actual fact?
Yeah, it is. That's an actual fact.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Learned something new today.
Yeah, it's one of the funny ones. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
So, but like so I like I said, that was my big thing with the movie was, and like the comedies, it's some of it is gag comedy, some of it is just pure wordplay.
Yeah.
Like when they're talking to the cop and he's like, "Yeah, I got the girl in my bed." And then they start laughing, and it's the awkward laugh. But
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's the awkward laugh, but you find yourself giggling at it as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my, like I said, that's easily out of this entire like list. And I even went on like I went on Wiki and just kind of I looked up horror comedies and just kind of read right through the list. That's easily one of my favorites. I would easily put Dale and Tucker. I always mess up Tucker and Dale. Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I would easily put that maybe in my top 15 movies of all time.
Yeah,
it's
phenomenal.
It's a good time, and that's the big thing with it is it's a horror, like there's horror elements to it, and it's just such a good time.
Okay, so from here on out, the movies that we talk about, I'm gonna have us rate. Each of us is gonna rate them on a 1 to 5 scale. 1 being bad, would not watch more than once, and 5 being one of those movies I watch at least once a month, kind of deal. So Tucker and Dale versus Evil, 1 to 5. How would you rate it? 5?
5.6. 5.6.
Oh, okay. Wow. See, I was gonna give it a solid 4. It's one of those movies that I think about it a lot, but it's not one of those ones where it's like, it's time to watch Tucker and Dale versus Evil again.
Yeah, no, I could easily watch that like every other month sort of thing. Like that could easily be in that category for me. It's like I said, for me, it's such a wholesome. It's a wholesome, funny comedy that has the horror elements in it.
Yeah.
And like I love Alan Tudyk, and I can't remember what Dale's name is because he's kind of a newer.
Yeah, he's kind of an unknown actor. Let me look that up real quick. I had it up.
But he's also in there's another movie that he's in with I don't want to say it's Amy Smart, but it's an actress like Amy Smart.
His name is Tyler Labine.
Tyler Labine, there we go. Thank you.
He was in Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
That's not the one I'm thinking of. Hold up a sec. Oh, well, let's look this up. Tyler Labine, you said, right?
Tyler Labine. I hope I pronounced his last name right.
If I didn't, I'm sorry. I love you. Don't hate me. Okay.
He's in quite a bit of stuff here recently.
Oh yeah, he's let's see here. Where's the one that I saw him in? What's the one Mary Berry? Is that? No, that one's a funny movie though. I think that's the one I'm thinking of.
But I mean, Tucker and Dale versus Evil is easily one of his best movies.
He was
for
the
sure.
most recent one that he was in was Escape Room. That's the one that I like. One of the ones that I remembered recently.
Okay, yeah.
This it? Yeah, this is it. It's Cottage County.
Okay.
Cottage Country. It's
Cottage
Malin
Country.
Ackerman. That's it.
Oh, okay. From Watchmen.
Yeah, she like that. They're both like a married couple, and then like they find like they kill someone or something. And then it's like they're trying to hide the body, and they're finding out that the marriage actually doesn't work, and like all this. And it's another kind. It's almost like a horror comedy, but it's more like almost like a thriller or suspense sort of movie.
Okay.
But like again, he's in that, and he's fucking perfect in that too. Wow, I swear a lot now that I'm noticing this.
Now that you're thinking about it on somebody else's show.
Exactly. Yeah, but not like I said though. I'm easily giving it a 5. It's in every other month sort of thing that I could easily in every other month sort of thing.
Yeah, I saved my 5 for the next movie I want to talk about. It's this one is one of my favorites. It's actually in my top 5 horror movies. Cabin in the Woods.
Okay. I tried finding this to watch, couldn't find it. So I actually like an hour ago just finished watching the kill count for it, just to kind of refresh the memory.
Right.
Thanks. It is a really good movie. It really is.
It's literally the definition of what you were saying of turning the whole horror trope thing on its head. And they made they gave a really good explanation for like why horror movies exist and what different genres exist.
that was the thing that I thought was the coolest thing, was that like it kind of gives you, and like it almost kind of like, because of course like one of the main horror tropes is the horny teenagers, right?
Yes.
And in this movie, they show that like, hey, let's pump up the pheromones. Let's make the light happen here. Let's
Mm-hmm.
turn the heat up a little bit, and like just showing these little things that like it's like, okay, now they're gonna now they're gonna get after it on screen.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like it adds that element of like, well, shit, this could be explained for every horror movie now. Then
Yeah, that
and
and when they're talking about the different branches, like you have the American branch where you have like your classic slasher films. They show the Japan branch, which is like the haunting films. Germany has the giant monsters and things like that. And it's just like, okay, so all these types of horror movies are existing because they were trying to appease the old gods. Like,
and I
it's
thought that was
such a
kind of
cool twist.
Yeah, it was a cool, but then, and this is one of the ones that like I was saying earlier with this is a horror movie with comedy elements.
Yes.
Where I think the last one is a comedy with horror elements.
Mhm.
This one is a pure horror movie, but it has comedic moments.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of the cool thing with it, is because it does go from like, okay, yeah, they're killing, God, what's the name of the family there?
The Buckners.
The Buckners, thank you.
Mhm.
The Buckner family's killing them, and then it's like, okay, everyone's dead, it's like, all right, cool, we've won. And it's like, you're in a movie, this a horror movie, and they've killed everyone, and then it goes to a scene of people celebrating and dancing and
Yeah.
getting drunk and having
Like
a
a
good
like a
time
company
because,
Christmas
hey,
party.
hey, everyone's dead, yeah, and it's like
Yeah.
okay, wait a time out, hold up, wait, and like that was kind of, and I loved the fact that they have a giant board, and it's like, well, undead zombies versus hillbilly zombies are different because it's almost like a seal and a seal elephant.
Right.
And it was like it's like, oh,
It's like when you get into a conversation with a bunch of horror nerds and they're like, okay, yeah, well, vampires and daywalkers are different because this and that, and werewolves are different from lichens because of this. Redneck zombies are different from like cannibals because they're not the same, and like they basically break everything down of like all the different types of things that could kill somebody in a horror film. And they have like ridiculous ones, and you see all the different monsters and things when they do the big release at the end.
One of the things I thought was really unique with the movie too was that, like, it would have been very easy for them to try and cop out and be like, hey, can we get Freddy? Can we get Jason? Can we get Michael Myers? Can we get Pinhead? I can't think of his name. Is it Pinhead?
It's Pinhead.
Is that his name? Oh,
yeah.
Cool. Pinhead, Candyman. Like, can we go out and get all these guys and just have them be, like the background people in the movie, or like this or that? Or no, they went completely original. All the characters were original, unique characters to just that thing. And I thought that was really cool as well, because that takes a lot of effort and a lot of time that a lot of people wouldn't want to put into something like that, right?
Yeah, and there were some that were clearly inspired by their things. Like there were the torture demons, which were clearly inspired by Hellraiser. You had the Killer family, not the Buckners, but like the Killer family that were inspired by movies like The Strangers Pray at Night or The Purge, because they have like the masks on and they're coming out with knives. They have the Killer Clown, which is inspired by Pennywise. They have a fucking unicorn, which was funny as hell.
I think if I remember correctly from the kill count thing I saw, they say an angry molesting tree or something like that. Like there's like there was something like that, and it's like okay.
And that's an Evil Dead reference actually.
Oh, that's true.
Yep.
I do remember them saying that.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course the main one, the merman.
The merman, which was grotesque.
It was the most grotesque thing I've seen in a long time, but
it was great.
Fucking thing I've seen at the same time. Just how much he wanted it,
and that's how he died.
And that's how he dies. And then you see it, and it's like, it's like, oh yeah, this really is gruesome. Like, damn.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so rating for Cabin in the Woods for you.
I'm gonna go 3, just because it's one of those movies that I could watch like maybe once a year, enjoy it. To me, it doesn't have much replay value, but I really like the fact that it was very unique in the way it presented stuff, and it does make you think like, okay, like, is this, did this movie happen like this because they went and they found they found this gem at the beginning of the movie, and the gem means the Pennywise is coming out. Like, you know, it's like it kind of adds that little effect in the back of your brain as you watch almost any movie.
Yeah, it does. It makes you think of like, okay, are there puppeteers pulling the strings for this movie?
Yeah.
This one's definitely is a 5 out of 5 for me.
Okay.
It's just one of those things, like the inner horror nerd in me is just like, okay, keep watching this, see how many different Easter eggs you can find. I don't know. I watch it every couple weeks just to watch it.
Well, and you know, especially for me, like I said, I'm more on the comedy side of it than the horror side of it, and like I said, I feel like this is more of a horror-based movie with comedy elements.
Right.
So for me, that aspect of it is kind of, you know, but like I said, I thought the originality of it and how unique it was to kind of do that as an idea, because and especially the setup for it is so long into the movie.
Yeah.
It's like 20-30 minutes in the movie before you actually fully understand, like, oh, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
You know. So I mean, like I said, there's a lot of really good things. I mean, I'd say now that I'm re-saying it, I'll say 3 to 4. It's in that range. You know, it's not the every other month, but it's one of those things like I could watch it like once a year, be enjoyed by it, but
yeah. So moving on from Cabin in the Woods, let's move on to your suggestion, actually. Happy Death Day. This is one that you wanted to talk about for sure.
Yeah. I love it simply. I love the actress in it as well, mainly. I think she's fucking. I think one, she's great in the movie. Two, she's gorgeous.
True.
But I thought it was it's one of those things, right? It's like I said, you know, I love the horror comedy stuff because it takes a concept that you know and it flips it on its head. It took Groundhog Day and turned it into a horror movie.
Right.
And that was kind of the cool thing. And it's also, it's, you know, it's a horror movie, it's a comedy, it's a whodunit, it's, you know, and it adds all these different elements into it. And as the movie goes on, you kind of change the way you're feeling about it as well.
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, well, you know, she died and she said it's not Danielle, but I think it might still be Danielle. You know, like,
yeah, it definitely has a bigger effect like the first two times you watch it. I think after the third rewatch, you're kind of just like, okay, I know what happens. I kind of just want to see how she gets to it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where after watching it a couple times, it really does. It takes away from the kind of shock value, because especially like on the second or third watch when you're watching it, it's more of now a can you pick this out early enough? You know, so like, okay, I know this is what happens, but can I find it earlier than where it is? And you'll see like little things that set it up or whatever. But like once you see all the stuff that you can see, it's, you know, I thought the actress, I think it was one of her first major movies.
Yeah, it was her first major production that she was in.
I think that she killed it. Personally.
Yeah, she did a great job. I think she cemented herself as a staple in like horror films in the future, or even like action films or something. Like she could easily be in a thriller or a murder mystery kind of movie. I think it would be a good fit for her. But for me personally, Happy Death Day kind of sits in that weird middle ground for me. Okay. It was great the first two times I watched it, but I don't find myself seeking out watching it again because I've seen everything. And it's like I watched it and then I rewatched it and I was like half an hour in and I'm like, oh, that's where you could figure it out right there.
Yeah. For me, it's one of those ones where, like I said, I've said it like maybe 4 or 5 times now. I like the main actress, so like I'm mainly watching for her.
Yeah,
but it's one of those things for me. It's one of those. And this, I don't think this is a bad thing to say it like this. It's a background movie.
Yeah.
And by that, what I mean is it's a movie that you can look over every now and then. You know what's going to happen, but it's still enjoyable.
Yeah.
But you don't need to focus on it. You know, it's almost that thing of like, okay, I'm going to be editing up some videos. I just need something playing so it doesn't, you know, mess, you know, so I can have something going on. I'll just throw this on. You know, boom, there we go.
I agree. It's a very like it's a passive movie is how I usually describe it. Something you can put on and still like talk to people.
There we go.
Edit stuff, write something, scroll through TikToks, like whatever. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. So I'm gonna give that one a 3 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the kind of the same category, more on the 3 than the 4. But it is. Like I said, I think it is a good one. You know.
Yeah, it is a good one for sure.
I will say this though: the Happy Death Day is tremendously better than Happy Death Day 2. I don't think they should have done a second one. I heard that they're doing a third one.
Yeah,
I don't know how true that is.
There's rumors. It hasn't been
But
confirmed. There's no date or contract signed yet.
leave
But
it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it
yeah,
alone.
I think doing Happy Death Day to You is a stretch.
It was that thing of they caught fire, so let's see how much fire we can have. You know,
Right.
it's one of those things. And
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of studios get into that realm, especially with kind of the mixed genres, because it's like, okay, we can hit fire once, let's see if we can hit fire again.
Yeah.
You know, but instead of it being a like, okay, I have a 3-movie arc, it's more of a here's your movie, cool. Okay, so now we want to do a second one. Okay, you know, and the studio's just like, no, make a second one, like just do
Yeah.
it, you know.
Yeah, it's just like, here, do this because the first one did well, so you need to do a second one.
Exactly.
But it's like, but we don't have an idea of how to do the second one. I don't care. Do it anyway. You got this.
Right? Yeah. It don't matter to me. Just make me money.
Make me money.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And like the second one just kind of, it ruined it a little bit for me with them going it so much and so drastically into, you know, like the physics of it and this and that and this and that.
Mhm.
You know.
They
so,
tried
like,
they tried to rationalize everything a little too much in the second one.
And it was just yeah. Exactly.
Moving into our last movie that we're gonna like go over is I don't know if you've seen this one or not, The Babysitter.
Yep, I have. I've seen. I like I said, I was rewatching some of the movies on kill counts on the kill count thing that I was telling you about once.
Yeah.
So I was watching that, and I rewatched that, and yeah,
it's something else. I think that the first one is significantly better than the second one. It's very similar to Happy Death Day, where I think the sequel for this one was a little bit more warranted than Happy Death Day sequel. It had its own original story. It had its own original story. It had a nice continuation, and it kind of brought a lot of the loose ends from the first film to a close. So I'll give them that. But honestly, it felt like one of those made for YouTube movies with a bunch of like Vine stars, which it had a bunch of people who were like popular on Vine.
Bella Thorne, Ken Bach, you know.
A lot of like social media actors.
Yeah.
And it felt like one of those things where it was like, okay, we made this with a bunch of money. Let's release it on YouTube, see how it does. But Netflix picked it up, and it was like, okay, the concept was cool. It was funny. It was definitely really funny.
Yeah, there was a lot of real funny scenes, but like the kill count guy said it, and it, along the lines of what you said, with it being like YouTube movie, he said it felt like a movie that was made for MTV.
Yeah, I agree.
And like and this is another one where, yet again, shocking, I love the main female actress in this, Sigourney Weaver. But I feel like that's wrong. But I feel like it's right at the same time.
Let me fact check that. You go ahead and keep talking.
Okay. But I loved her. Yet again, another I feel like she did a strong performance in the movie. She held her own in it. She's also in another horror comedy, Ready or Not, I think, if I remember correctly.
Samara Weaving.
Samara Weaving. There it is. I said Sigourney Weaver.
She's in Ready or Not.
Yeah, which is another horror comedy.
Which is so good. Ready or Not was phenomenal.
That's so good. Yet again, another just a very original concept, but done very well. Maybe we'll talk about that after this one.
Yeah, we could talk about that one. I think that one's a little bit more horror than comedy.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
This one I thought had moments that were really good and had moments that were just absolutely terrible. A lot of the dialogue I thought was bad. Some of the, of course, because you have the old Vine YouTube actors in it. Some of their performances are just horrendous.
Like Bella Thorne.
Anything with Robbie Amell, I fucking love.
Oh yeah, well, I think that was the highlight of the movie for me, Robbie Amell's character, because he's like he's this sinister primal like predator, like, oh, I'm just here because I wanted to kill somebody, like that's why I'm here. Dude, you've got to be better. And he was like trying to coach the kid into being a better dude.
That's the funniest thing, right? Is like he's like, one moment he's trying to kill him, and then the next moment it's like, dude, you gotta go kick his ass.
Yeah.
You know, like you gotta go do this. You know, you gotta be a man. You know, that sort of thing. And it's like, and it was one of those things. It's like, did this dude really just pep talk the victim in the like the horror victim in the middle of a horror? Like, what the fuck is going on?
And that's what kept me engrossed in the film is moments like that where it was like, okay, so he's gonna go kill the kid or try to, and then he stops and he's like giving him pet talk. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I need to know what this is about.
When it's funny as well, because especially with the movie, if you think about it, right? So like they have the beginning part of it. She gives him the alcohol. He doesn't take it. He throws it in the
Mm-hmm.
flower or in the potted plant there.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes upstairs. They sacrifice Samuel, which Bella Thorne has a really tough time of saying. Um, and then they go upstairs and they just take his blood instead of killing
Yeah.
him. They literally just take his blood. And it's
Yeah.
one of those things where it's like, that's where the movie ends.
Yeah.
In any other context, the movie ends at that point because it's already done. Like she straight up was just like, "We're not gonna kill him. We're just gonna take some of his blood."
Yeah.
So it's like it's a funny thing because it's like they add the aspect of like him waking up. He's
Mm-hmm.
not really drugged. He didn't take the alcohol, and now all this shit occurs.
Yeah.
So it's that typical kind of like like sacrifice horror movie that
Mm-hmm.
like I said with all these comedies they flip it on its head.
Yeah.
And I really like that. But like I said, there is a lot of just some of the acting is really bad. Some of the dialogue is really bad. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's moments where the relationship between Samari Weaver and the kid is really good. And then
Yeah.
there's times where it feels so forced that it kind of makes it a little cringeworthy at points.
Yep. I agree.
But I mean, like I said, I thought it's a good giggle movie. It's one of those things where if you want to just fully turn your brain off and just have a laugh.
Yeah. See,
that's
I put it in the category of like I put it in as like a party film. So it's like if you have a bunch of people over for like a Halloween party, it's like, hey, have you seen this stupid fucking movie called The Babysitter? Yeah. Watch it. It's funny as shit. And then you barely watch it and you're just kind of joking about that and talking about other stuff. It's not even a background film. It's more of like a let's poke fun at this kind of film. So I give that one a 2 out of 5. I enjoy the movie because it was a fun watch. But like you said, a lot of the bad moments kind of outweigh the good.
Yeah, it's I definitely would give it a 2 too because it's not one of those things where I'm not actively seeking out to go watch The Babysitter. It's one of those things where if I'm completely fucking bored and I look on YouTube and that's one of the first things that pops up, I might put it on. Otherwise, probably not.
Yeah, most likely not. Well, since we brought it up, let's talk about Ready or Not a little bit. I've only actually seen this once.
I've only seen because like I said, I watch a lot of the kill count videos because it allows me to watch the horror movie without actually watching the horror movies.
Right.
So it's a nice way for me to get into it. And if there's a movie that I like enough, I'll try and go and watch it. And this has been one of the ones that I've tried to go and watch, but I haven't found it anywhere yet.
Yeah.
I just yet again, this is just I thought it was a very original concept.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the big thing for me. Was the fact that it's just such a unique and original concept, fully fleshed out. It's a horror movie with comedic moments.
Yes, it takes the whole like I don't know. It kind of has the premise of like a home invasion film where they kind of set it to the point where like okay, we broke in, we're gonna hunt you. Good luck. But it was like it's her in-laws. Yeah, and it's her wedding night. It's like, okay, if you want to be in this family, you got to survive.
Well, and I thought that was kind of another cool thing too. The fact that like, they go through that whole thing. They explain the whole thing. The labella box. You got to, you pull it out. Whatever game it is, you got to play the game. And how I love the fact that every game that is in the labella box is literally just a game, other than this one. Other than hide and seek. Hide and seek is the only one that is like this. So I thought that was kind of, that's it's a silly horror movie trope, but in this situation though, it plays really well because it is one of those things where you can see the family kind of have that moment of like, fuck.
Yeah.
All right. Kind of like, all right, this is what it is.
And the thing about this movie, I think what I took from it the most is its excitement for the director. Matt Bettinelli-Olpin, he is set to direct the next installment in the Scream franchise.
Oh, okay.
So seeing the style of this film definitely kind of gave me like that middle ground Wes Craven type vibe. So I'm excited to see what he does in the future. Not to like put down Ready or Not or anything, but I think it's a jumping point for him. He could definitely do some great things with the franchises.
It's him going from a very original concept to him, I won't say remaking or rebooting, but taking a franchise that is beloved, well known, and putting his own spin on it.
Yes.
And I think that will be a unique thing to see, because with a lot of directors like this, I feel like they go one of two ways. Either one, they put their spin on it so much that it completely ruins it, or they pay homage to the original while putting their own spin on it, and it kind of turns into this weirdly unique and kind of beautiful movie. You know,
that's what I give Fede Alvarez a lot of credit for. He did that with Evil Dead. He took the Sam Raimi classic and he upped the gore. He added his own style to it. He definitely made it way more of a horror film than the original Evil Dead, while still sticking to like that same kind of tone in the story. But he definitely made it a lot darker, a lot grimier, made it his own, and he made a phenomenal remake of a cult classic film. So I think Open could definitely do that with Scream, especially after seeing Ready or Not.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I thought it was it, and I thought the cast was perfectly placed for this movie. A lot of them are brand new people you've never seen before, but the way that they play the roles, though, it's like it kind of makes it difficult. Like, I can't be like, you know what, maybe if like, you know, they put Chris Pratt in that role instead. Not like no, like it's kind of, it's one of those things where you watch it and you can't really see anyone else doing that role, you know. And I thought that was really, really kind of cool, seeing how strong these actors were. But then also, what in some of the behind the scenes cuts and stuff, you see like they are really excited to be in this movie. Like they're really excited about the movie. They love the ideas of it. There's one of them at the end of the movie when like people are blowing up, and he's like, he asked the director like, "Can I get some of it in my mouth? Like, is it okay if I get some in my mouth? Because I want to spit it out. I want to do this thing where like, you know, like." And it's one of those things where he's like, yeah, like if do that. You know? So like the fact that they were so kind of, you know, all in was is a big testament to the film,
especially with a relatively new director. I mean, the only other claim to fame he's had is like a small segment on the compilation movie VHS.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So he had one segment on that, and then he did a movie called Southbound, and then he did Ready or Not. So like he jumped from segmented horror to like a big Paramount movie. So he was relatively unknown up until now, and it's like, I guess after the success of Ready or Not, they were like, hey, you want to do Scream? So like that's big props for somebody new. Like you're taking on you're taking on a Craven classic as your like third major horror movie outing.
When you put it like that, that's kind of that's, you know, that's high school to college, you know, that's high school football to college football to pro football real quick.
Yeah,
you know?
That's like not even finishing a season of each.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's kind of, you know, it's awesome to think about, but like, you know, hopefully he does a good job with it. You know.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what he does. So out of 5, how do you rate Ready or Not?
I'm gonna go 3-4, but more on the 4.
I agree.
This is one that I could see myself watching a little bit more. I thought it, like I said, I thought it was unique. I love the main actress. I know that she's done a couple more movies since this that she's had big roles in. So I mean, you know, I love seeing that. You know, I love seeing these actresses and actors that are kind of unknown, and then you slowly start seeing them a little bit more and more and more. And it's like, oh shit, I remember this dude from, you know, back in 2012 when he was playing a fat hillbilly, or, you know, I remember seeing this badass chick as a bride, you know, back in whenever the hell this movie came out.
2019.
2019. There we go. You know, so I mean, so I would say more in the 4, but in that range, 3 or 4.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 4 as well, because like I've only seen it once and I want to see it again because I want to see what other stuff I can catch in the film. So yeah, it was a good watch the first time around, and I want to see it again. So I'll give it a 4 out of 5.
You know what? Just thinking of it right now. You know what I just thought of that is a perfect 5. Like, I mean, a perfect 5, and it fits in the horror comedy too. But it's a perfect 5. You know what movie I'm talking about?
What movie are you talking about?
Velocipaster.
Oh, Jesus.
It's the perfect 5 across the board. I can watch it once a week, every week. Just
Look, I'm not supposed to be facepalming on my own show. That's a comic relief thing.
I know, but I mean, I kind of made this. I said at one point that I was going to do this, so I mean, now I got to do it. But I mean, how can you not have the perfect comedy in this? You know, it's the horror elements of a priest turning into a velociraptor that's actually a T-Rex, but we're not getting into semantics. There's, you know, an exorcist at one point. There's a war scene at one point. You know, there's the great comedy of VFX car on fire instead of just showing a VFX car on fire. It just says it on the screen. There's the scene of him, with the compass, and he goes, China is east. I mean, it's such a beautiful blend of horror and comedy. So I want to know, where are you ranking Velocipaster 1 through 5?
Okay, so while we're on the subject of Velocipaster, I that's actually a good segue into what I was going to bring in next that I didn't even put on our layout.
Okay.
B horror films, like the movies that are intentionally supposed to be bad.
I was gonna say, can we go lower than B for this? Because
I mean, we can go B and C, because I mean, we've got things like you said, Velocipaster. There's Wolf Cop. There's Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter. There's
Rubber.
The Killer Tire. I mean, come on. Thanksgiving. Ginger Dead Man.
So I recently went over to a buddy's house for the weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and we were flipping through movies, down in like his in his man cave, flipping through movies, and that movie came up, and I was like, check this out.
Which
And
movie?
he's Velocipaster.
Oh, okay.
Check this out. And he's like, what is this? And I was like, just check it out. Give me 5 minutes. I was like, give me 5 minutes. So he starts watching it, and he pauses it, and he goes, gets up and goes, you want anything? And I was like, what do you mean, do I want anything? He's like, well, I'm already, we're 5 minutes, we're 7 minutes in. If we're going to do this, we're going to do this right. He went upstairs, he got popcorn and a bunch of waters. He came back down, and we finished the movie fully out. And like, there was so many times when he was kind of face palming and just kind of, what the fuck is that? Why is there a war? Why are we in World War II? Like, why are we in the Vietnam War? Like, and it's just there's so many, just especially that movie itself. That's my big one, just because I did a movie review for it, because it was just such a stupid freaking movie.
Yeah,
but it was one of those things where it's such a stupid movie to a point that it makes it good. It's like Sharknado, just the first one, not the another 20 of them. It's like the first one. It's such a good shitty movie that just brings its own cult status to it.
So I along that line of thinking, I rank those movies as a whole. Not Velocipaster specifically.
Okay.
I think B and C horror movies that are like genuinely made to be shitty. I put them all at about a 4, because I consistently find myself wanting to watch shitty movies.
It's one of those. I call it the sci-fi effect, because no matter what, you're going to be bored on a Wednesday at some point. You're going to be scrolling through the TV looking for something to watch, and suddenly you're going to get to the Sci-Fi Channel, and it's going to be Sharktopus versus Electa Eel, or Electra Elephant, or something like that, and you're going to be like,
5-headed shark attack on a Tuesday, and you're just like,
right? Like, it's
all right,
like, you're like, it's like, it's that quick pause and realization of like, is this what my life has come to? And then you're like, yep. And then you watch it, and it's like, it's just a stupid fun movie that you find yourself, you're not really searching out for it, but when you watch it, it's like, that was a decent waste of an hour of my life, and
yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, if I'm scrolling through and it's on, and I land on it, I'm like, I mean, it's on, I might as well.
Right? It's like, I ain't doing nothing else, It's like,
right.
They made this for somebody to see. I might as well be that somebody, right?
Yeah,
like,
they made Velocipaster specifically for you.
I fucking love it. It's such a stupid movie, but I love it so much. I try to get almost anyone I know to watch it, because it is just that bad and that funny at the same time.
Yeah, I was that way with Wolf Cop for a while.
Yeah.
And there were a couple other like shitty shows that I used to watch. I think it was called Danger Force 5. It was a ridiculous show where it was like travelers that had to fight Hitler in all different periods of time, and their leader was a bald eagle. It was one of those things. I get that from my friend Erica. Like, we used to make drinking games out of these like crappy movies. So it was like, okay, it's Thanksgiving weekend. You're gonna come over on Black Friday night, and we're gonna watch Thanksgiving 1 through 3, and drink every time there's a turkey pun, right? I'm like, hell yeah, I am, and that's what we did.
Yeah, I am.
Same thing with Ginger Dead Man at Christmas. We did the same thing.
Same thing with Ginger Dead Man. Oh,
yeah.
God, I love it.
Yep. So yeah, B horror movies as a whole is like a 4 for me.
Yeah, I give it a 3 or 4, because like I said, there's some that are just, no, and then there's some like, Velocipaster, which is a perfect 5.
Yeah. So 3 or 4 for most other horror films, except for Velocipaster, which is a 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I actually, gonna surprise you here real quick. With a TV show. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
Okay.
It is a horror comedy, I guess, horror sci-fi comedy, I guess, in that range. It's called Truth Seekers.
I've heard of it. It's been
Okay.
on my list of things to watch. I just have not watched it yet.
So I've watched it because it's Nick Frost, and Nick Frost is one of my favorite English actors.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thoroughly enjoyed by it because it's a horror elements with a sci-fi twist, but it's a pure kind of like it's an English comedy. You can tell that throughout the entire thing.
Right.
I really think that you would enjoy it, and I'd really be interested to see what you think of it after watching it as well.
What's it on?
Amazon Prime.
Amazon? Okay, I'll give it a shot. I'll take some time and watch some of it this weekend.
Well, let me take a quick peek here real quick. I think if I remember correctly, it's only like 8 episodes too. So it's not anything.
Okay, so it's not a massive undertaking.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not like okay, I got a month, worth of watching to do here.
Right,
it's more
right.
like I got like like an hour or two. No, not Truth or Dare. Dear God, not Truth or Dare.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, let's talk about a horror comedy that we don't need to talk about.
Yeah.
It's 8 episodes.
Okay, so
And
8
they're-
episodes.
8 episodes, and it's 30 minutes each, basically.
Oh yeah, I could do that in the afternoon.
Yeah, it's broadband installer by day, paranormal investigator by night. Gus is annoyed to be partnered with Noob Elton, but comes to appreciate having someone along for the ride as they uncover a spike in supernatural activity. They're soon joined by Astrid, who has ghost problems of her own, and the gang embark upon creating a ghost hunting YouTube channel, uncovering a terrifying conspiracy as they go. So, like I said, it's a little bit more sci-fi, but there is some horror elements in
That
there,
sounds
like some
that sounds
scares
fun.
and everything. But it's a lot of fun, and like I said, it's one of the movies that Nick Frost is like the main actor.
Mm-hmm.
Simon Pegg is in there, but he's not the main. Nick
Right.
Frost is the main, and
Okay.
Nick does a very good job of carrying the show, which I thought was really cool to see because a lot of times you see him with Simon Pegg.
Yeah.
And Pegg is carrying with Frost being kind of the side character.
Yep.
So it was cool seeing him being able to carry a show by himself. And I don't know if there's going to be a second season of it. I don't know if I haven't seen anything, but. It would be cool if there was. So, but like I said, I wanted to surprise you quick with that one.
I'll definitely have to check that out, and I might throw a quick review in on like one of the future episodes that I do.
Yeah.
Well, that about wraps up what I wanted to talk about today. Thank you for diving into horror comedies with me. I know you're not much of a horror guy, but I know comedies are your specialty, so I definitely was happy to get you in on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it. One step closer, to getting my, my anti-life equation done here.
Yeah.
Two left.
You only have a few more shows to be on, and then you got them all.
Yep, 2 left, and then I just got to make it onto the Crisis episodes.
Yep, which will happen. We'll be planning Crisis for sure.
I was gonna say, I feel like whenever that starts to get planned, I'm gonna try and plan you guys on mine as well.
Well, that's the idea. So I'll tell you the idea of Crisis after the show because I don't want to spoil it live. But there are some surprises coming for that one.
That's awesome. I'm excited. About it.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I mean, like you said, I'm not a huge horror guy, but I do like me my giggles. So horror comedy, it's a newer thing for me, but I do like my, like I said, I do like my giggles. So I appreciate you letting me on, man. I mean, it was, I wanted to be on anyway. As soon as you guys announced that you guys were doing the Box Network and you had all the different channels, like I said, I think one of the very first things I said was 1, this is awesome, but 2, I want to be on every one of them.
Yeah.
Because I want to support you guys. I want to be on here. I want to have some cool fun times because there's always cool fun times with all you guys. So.
Well, I appreciate that, and we definitely appreciate your support over here at the Box for sure.
Yeah, of course. Like I said though, I really do appreciate you guys letting me have me on.
Of course. And thank you everyone else who is still here for tuning in today. Please be sure to like and share this video and subscribe to the Box Network on YouTube. Hit the bell to receive notifications when this show and all of our other shows go live. Be sure to tune in on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Comic Relief, where myself and my other co-host Xander will be breaking down our next episode of Loki, which will be episode 4. And boy, that was a big episode.
I've heard. Of course, you guys. I don't have Disney Plus, but I have seen all the stuff online, and yeah,
it's crazy.
I'll even say that. Like not a Disney MCU fan by any means, but like
Right.
wow,
Yeah.
that was a huge like I'm not even
big stuff. We'll be breaking that down on Tuesday night for sure. And I will be back next week for episode 3 of Cursed Tapes. I will be by myself for the first time. Next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll be breaking down the roadmap for the rest of the year in horror films and shows.
nice.
What movies to expect, how excited I am for the spooky season, and whether I think you should pay the money to see these movies in theaters.
I would say right now there is one movie that I do want to see in theaters.
Is it Candyman?
Actually, yep, now that you said that, now it's 2 then. Never mind.
Is it Halloween Kills?
Yeah.
Okay, so Halloween Kills and Candyman.
Yeah.
Yep, those are the ones I'm more excited about seeing. There are others that I'm like, I have to go see them because I want to talk about them. But like, do I have to?
The Candyman one, after seeing the first trailer, I was all in. I thought it was. I love. God, I can't think.
Jordan Peele.
It's Yaya, right?
Yeah.
The main actor.
Oh, crap! I can't remember his name. Hang on. IMDb on speed dial.
Yeah.
Not Dancy Man. Candyman.
Yahya Abdul Mateen. Second. I'm a huge fan of him. You know, he's Black Manta. He was in Watchmen. I'm a huge fan of him. So as soon as I saw the first trailer and I saw they did that, Jordan Peele, and then they turned the Beyonce song into a horror song, I was like, okay, I'm all in. Halloween Kills, I didn't give a shit about, didn't really care. And then the most recent trailer came out, which I talked to you about at one point. And as soon as they did the thing at the end where it's like, we're gonna go hunt Michael, I was like,
yeah, that's the first time they've done that in any any film.
Like, well, that's the thing, right? Like I don't think I've seen a horror movie where they're like, fuck it, we're gonna go after the killer.
Yeah,
and like it's gonna be interesting to see how the movie plays, because that is, in my opinion, it is the ballsiest thing you can do in a horror movie. Because
absolutely,
it goes against everything that
a horror movie
normally is.
Yeah, it goes against the entire like norm of a slasher film.
So that's why I'm excited for that. It's simply just for that.
Yep. But we'll get more in depth with everything next Thursday, and I will be breaking down things. I may try and do sort of like I'm thinking I might sort of do like a call-in hotline kind of deal. Set up like a waiting room in my Discord, so if there are movies that people want to talk about, they can let me know ahead of time, and I can bring them in. They can do their comments, and I can then kick them out, continue my show. So I'm gonna play around with that idea for a little bit, but thank you everybody again for tuning in, and I will see you all on Tuesday for Comic Relief. And as always, stay spooky, my friends. Thank you again, Big Husky.
Thank you.
And good night.